Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the West Coast. Now, over the last little while, people have been saying that maybe I should try Realism, and I've been resisting quite strongly. Until now, because the more realistic mod is at a point where I think it's very easily playable. That's what I'm using from now on. The Ford TW35 I use is MR, thanks to Serious Gamer for making the XML for that. This Welger baler is MR, and I'm just kind of showing off that the bales are very different to what you might be used to in the base game. So if you pay attention to the baler, you'll see that it's coming out kind of in chunks, and the tractor is under some strain. There's slippage going on the wheels. That's this little display down here is slippage right here, and then fuel usage here. You can see it's quite expensive on fuel to be baling. You might also notice that I'm doing some live commentary for once. Yes, I'm gonna do kind of a mix of videos of different things, and I do have a few plans for, if not just today's video, then today's and Friday's videos. Because I got a few things that I want to get done, and I don't know how long they'll take. Just because MR kind of messes with things quite a lot and quite severely. So, a quick explanation of what the more realistic mod does is it changes the game physics and how certain things work. So you can see this baler here. If I stop up, everything's running the way that it would in reality, which you might think, oh, the baler does that anyway. No, because if I kind of slow down to a bit of a crawl here, and you guys pay attention, you can see that the capacity isn't going up very often. It's going up very jumpy at regular intervals. That's because more realistic is simulating the plunger, like packing up the grass and pushing it or packing up the hay in this case, and pushing it out the back. That's why the bales are kind of shooting backwards a bit more than they used to, and if I go fast enough they'll get ejected in a reasonably realistic way. Not, you know, perfectly, but reasonably realistic. So if I just speed up to the 14 kilometers an hour, you can see the bales kind of get popped off the end by the plunger pushing the next bale onwards. You'll also hear a whining. That's actually the two control arms going that are pushing the grass, or the hay in this case, into the bale chamber itself. Now this T-Dub has to have a special script on it, because this is the one that I have been using across a few different maps that has the front hydraulic available. Now there's a little bug with this where it thinks the weight is always on, so even if I put the front hydraulic on, it will look like the front wheels hunker down a bit, and it acts as if there's a weight on the front. That's just because I don't know if it's even possible to code weights into the MR XMLs. I haven't spoken to Dural at all about this, although I would be curious. Dural, if you're watching, can you do that? And if so, how? Because that would definitely be something cool to try and do with this thing, is code it so that it only has a weight when the weight is attached, and if it's got a front 3-point front hydraulic, it just kind of acts as if it's got a front hydraulic. So I got the weight just so it looks a bit more legit. It is a TW35, my preferred T-Dub, and this field took nowhere near as long as I kind of feared it would, which is kind of good. So we can just turn this off and head over to, where is the Optum? So we're going to drive the case Optum. You might hear me doing some clunking and stuff, but not as much clicking as you might be used to. That is because, very, very simply, I'm using the wheel again. So you'll hear me clunking the gear into place. for forwards and reverse. So you'll have to excuse that. There's nothing I can really do to prevent that. And the reason we're getting the Optum is very, very simple. Now, I might actually get everything I want to do done today, in which case I'll have to change some plans for the rest of the week, which is fine by me. Also, keep an eye on the speed. 50 kilometers an hour, cresting the hill, coming down the other side. 54, 55, 56, 57 maybe? 56 kilometers an hour, and I've got to hit the brakes. Because yes, brakes are a thing in MR. I forgot to turn the traffic back on, didn't I? I was doing something yesterday where I had to turn the traffic off. Off camera. I've been playing off camera, by the way. For the first time in forever. I've legitimately just been playing Farm Sim. And enjoying it because MR makes the game more enjoyable for me. So if you don't like more realistic mod, I'm very, very sorry, but you're going to be very disappointed. What? One thing this does have as well is Ackerman steering. And the angles of the caster do look about correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach the Kuhn FBP 3135 to the back of the tractor, the baler from the Kuhn pack. This is an MR baler as well. And I have prepared a... Okay, what on earth was that? I'm not sure, but that was a lag spike and a half. I have prepared over here, number one, a trailer load of bales that have not budged. But number two, you'll notice that I am using a round baler here. There's a very specific reason I'm using a round baler. This is after all of the times that I said in the past that, oh, I'm not going to use a round baler because round bales in Farm Sim are atrocious. There's a very specific reason I'm using round bales, though. And it is to demonstrate that I can't get in through a gate. It is to demonstrate how the bales behave with the more realistic mod if I can get into the gate, into the field. There we go. This might be just a half-hour shoot. Because I was kind of planning on doing time lapses and fancy stuff, but looking at the time already, I think we might be going just for a straight half-hour shoot, unusually enough. Much to my annoyance as well. So let's get the baler down. You can hear... You hear the engine revving at... we're just kind of taking over, 2.5 litres per hour. I turn on the baler. You can hear the PTO spool up. Now idling at a much, much higher rate, and something has made the game angry. What is angering the game? Oh, no, 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 stop, 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 stop. Okay. This baler does not work with MR. I was assured it would, but it does not. Okay, that did not go to plan at all. Where's the baler? I need to get rid of it. Like, now. So let's just really quickly get the Robot 150. I'm hoping this isn't a bug that I've managed to find. Let's get the Robot 150 so you can show off the bales. Do I want to go to the shop or do I want to just reset? I'll go to the shop. So I got a front weight on this. It's going to be kind of jacked down a bit. I'm going to have to just see if there is some sort of verification the Kuhn has been MRified, and if it has, I'll have to let Doral know about that little call stack, because that is a baler specific little call stack, and that's the first time it's happened to me. I've done some baling already. So you can hear the revving of the engine. If I just kind of let it roll down, you can hear the engine braking occurring. The engine kind of catch it. Oh, that was nice. The engine kind of caught itself there. So let's see if we can do this with the roll belt. I'm hoping we can, because I'd like to see some round bales on the go. If we can't, then something's gone horrifically wrong. So I'll have to do some checking after I've recorded this video, and hopefully Fridays too, but I don't know if I will, because it's getting quite late in the day and I have been atrociously lazy because, hey, it's Monday, it's supposed to be my recording day, but I've of late been taking it as a day off. Also, I just enjoyed lying in bed this morning. So yeah, that's a thing. The Abbey Muck Spreader, by the way, is from CD Models. I'll have a more detailed video on that in time. I'm just kind of waiting for the cows and pigs to produce manure. So that we can show that off a bit better. Hopefully... Well, this is an in-game round baler, so it should not... Okay... Let's just magic ourselves over here. And do you know what? We'll just... Seeing as we're using this, let's just magic ourselves into the field because it's faster. I'm hoping this doesn't have the same issue. Sincerely hoping this doesn't have the same issue. Okay, so first things first. Oh, this is quite clearly using MR. Yeah, this is using MR. And it's not unfolded. Why is the baler not unfolded? It should unfold before turning on. Okay, let's see if we get the same error. Oh! That's the same error. There's a problem with round bales. Okay, that's kind of ruined my plans. I don't know why there's a problem with round bales, but there is. Okay. Also, I was on 15 times time acceleration for some reason. I'm gonna leave this field as is, and hopefully by the time I come to record Friday's video, I'll have figured out the issue with round bales. Or somebody else will have had it and there'll be a solution up on the forum somewhere. On FSUK. Because that is a genuine problem. That was kind of the plan for the videos to do that, so... in a very quick and easy change of plans, actually it's something else planned as well. To demonstrate another part of the more realistic mod. And I think field 4 there. Is that field 4 or is that field 5? Field 4 will be a really good demonstration of this. Now, apart from physics, what the more realistic mod tweaks is usage of fertilizer and seeds, which doesn't sound like a big deal, does it? You know, oh, you're going to use more fertilizer, you're going to use more seeds, it just makes the game more difficult. Except when it doesn't. Because I was looking through the info that Dural had on FSUK. In certain situations, it makes the game easier. Now, this is ostensibly a mod to make the game more difficult, you know. It slows the game down to a certain point, and... You know, realism is not something Farm Sim has ever done well. Without MR, at least. Speaking of, I've managed to get myself stuck in the shed. I wonder if I can... like, bring it straight out and then turn it. Yeah, it looks like I can bring it straight out and then turn it. There we go. Let's turn this way. It's going to be a bit easier. So we got wheat in here. Can we change the... Ah, he's changed how this works. This used to be the case that you just choose your seed and then put the... or choose your crop, put the seed in, and then it would be stuck at that seed forever. So let's seed some... let's seed some soybeans down in field 4, I think. Soybeans a good crop to do... Actually, let's get a bit more realistic to Britain. Let's do some canola. He says this: the canola field is going to be right beside a sugarcane field. Because that's the thing in this version of West Coast, thanks to BulletBill. This is, from what I'm led to believe, this is the update version of the West Coast that I'm on. It was given to me by BulletBill. So, props to him, shout out to him for being so very, very kind. Let's see how canola seeding works. I think wheat and barley uses more seed. Let's see what happens with canola. I know sugar beet, it literally uses about 1/10 of the seed that Farm Sim does. That was a specific example given by Doral. Was like Farm Sim uses 400 liters per hectare of sugar beet seeds. MR uses about 4. And yes, this is a good example here. Canola, we've used 1 liter of seeds so far, not even. Once we hit 1844, we'll be officially over 1 liter of seeds used. There we go, officially just over a liter of seeds used, and we've made it halfway down the field. So, yeah, well, it makes harvesting and fertilizing specifically very difficult. And I'll get to fertilizing in time. I'll have to get potentially a smaller fertilizer spreader. What makes those tasks particularly difficult, just because fertilizer has a realistic weight now, and fertilizer is not the lightest thing in the world because it contains some quite heavy elements. And it is quite dense as well. It makes seeding a lot easier because you don't need to fill the seeder. I mean, we're down to 1842 litres in the seeder already. Or now, and we started with 1846 over there. Well, probably 1845 and some change. So we've used 3, maybe 4 litres of seeds on almost a full headland here. That is game-changing in terms of figuring out the cost of seeding. Now, granted, the seeds are going to cost probably an extortionate amount of money more because they'll have a realistic price. But I might see if there's something going wrong on my MR install. I might change, or I might re-download MR and see if there's like a GitHub version of it or something. Because I'm using the version from Dural's Google Drive, which is kind of the stable version, but does seem to have an issue with round bales. Which is a bit of a shame, because that's how I'd like to do bales, and I wanted to show off that the round bales actually kind of settle on the ground, which they do in MR, they always have, and it's one of the reasons that I really like MR. You know, as slow as it makes certain parts of the game, and you can see we're seeding a lot more slowly. My foot is flat to the ground with the pedal, and we're just... Okay, now it's not, because I'm rounding a corner, but... It just makes the game a lot more, true to life, I think. More of a simulator. Not 100% pure, because obviously you've got some of the weird farm sim stuff, like the traffic being made of inexplicable concrete. And in fact, because the tractors are slightly lighter, because the MR engine copes with that better, the cars have a habit of launching tractors now. But you can see quite clearly that does MR conflict with multi-terrain angle. Hang on a second. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm pretty sure this version does still have multi-terrain angle, unless Bill forgot to put it back in. Which I guess is a possibility. No, that's multi-terrain angle there. So it's just me imagining things. It must just be the way that the texture looks then. That's really, really odd. You can see we've used 10 litres of seeds, we're on our second headland already. If this was default farm sim with stock physics and stock usages, we'd probably have made it a few yards and used this much seed. Now the flip side is that there's a reason I'm seeding this quite large field in canola. The yield is going to be next to nothing. There's going to be very low yield just because canola in real life is a very, very small crop. It's going to look like there's a very low yield litre wise, but in reality it's going to be, you know, quite a lot of crop. If you ever watched one of Dino's videos, you'll have seen him harvesting canola in the past, and you'll see that it's very really small pods. And more realistic does actually simulate this, so you get more seed per litre. You get less yield per litre as a direct result, or you get, you know, get less literage of yield as a direct result of the crop technically being smaller, but the higher prices account for that. And I believe, but I'm not 100% sure, that the well, I am 100% sure of this. I was kind of halfway through a thought and then thought, actually, it's better, thought of a better way to explain it. The way that crops work in trailers has changed as well. It's not a case of you put your crop in your trailer and it's however many litres. It's however many litres, which is however many tons. And the trailer will react as if you've got that many tons of material in it. So it does kind of encourage you to match decent sized tractors up with decent sized trailers, or else you will end up in a world of hurt. Now I'm just looking at the time, and I have actually almost filled this with just half an hour of talking, which on one hand is a bit of a pain because I do like doing the edit style of video. On the other hand, is great because, you know, I might. There's no point in me having videos where they're all edited all the time. I might as well keep a few every now and then where it's, and I know I haven't been editing, but where it's more the older style, because I know people like this half-hour sitting kind of vlog while playing farm sim style as well. But I have a series planned that is, and I'll openly say it here, based on a series Landy Kid is planning. He's told me his plans. I've taken them and thought, actually, this would be a really good idea, but what if I did this? So I'm actually not going to be even thinking about what map I'll be doing that series on, because it is going to be a farm sim series, until Landy releases his first video on his series of this thing, and I'm being intentionally vague for a reason. Because it's his idea. I don't want to be taking the, you know, I don't want to be having people go over to Landy and say, oh, you're copying RainbowDave. No, it's his idea. I'll have people saying, oh, you're copying Landy, but hey, I'll put my own twist on it. Because my plan is something I think you guys will like, and it's a very, very different style of series from anything you'll have seen from me before. Or Landy, for that matter. It's probably going to be a bigger shock to the system for Landy's subscribers, because, yeah, I know his plans, and that's not what he does. I know my plans, and it's somewhat what I do. But again, slightly different, just to allow me to vary up my playstyle. MR actually does that, believe it or not. That's why I'm using, you might have noticed, this is a stock tractor. There is a stock weight on the stock tractor for, oh yeah, weight distribution is a thing. Forgot to mention that. when you're doing field work, you have to make sure that the weight is at least somewhat distributed evenly, else you'll get nothing but slippage. And I think I've done a good job with this because I'm only getting, what, 12.5–15% slippage. Just gonna get this going in the field and we'll see what it goes up to. 6–7%, yeah. 8% slippage is what it topped out at there. That's really good. I've done a good job on the weight distribution. I do have 4-wheel drive on. I probably don't need it, but I've just got it on as a backup. And for those of you who use drive control, this is something you guys might enjoy hearing. The 4-wheel drive diff locks, they actually do something. Because if let's see, is there a good spot here where I can potentially... No. I've showed it off on the streams a couple of times on Saturday and Sunday where I've been going around in 2-wheel drive and the tractor's got stuck in a little divot that is nearly impossible to see. And that sounds, fine, whatever, that happens. Except when I turned on 4-wheel drive and diff locks, the remaining wheels behaved in a normal, realistic manner and pulled the tractor out. In fact, if I were to get this stuck upside down or outside with 4-wheel drive on, you could see all 4 wheels turning. If I did it with 2-wheel drive on, you'd only see 2 turning. I do also have the harvester I've got is the Lexian 750. I've actually had to swap it out for a slightly different one, different version. Effectively same mod, different version, because the only MR XMLs I could find, well, I could find 2 different ones. This is a very, very close version to the one that I was using in the past. And yeah, it's basically the same harvester, same header, same everything. It's just a different mod, officially, from a different website, because the one I downloaded originally was slightly dodgier. And it's going to be behaving as a real harvester would. It's going to be probably quite slow through the canola, so this is going to be an interesting field to harvest. Just to see what the speed kind of is. I do also have a slurry spreader over in field 12, I think. I want to try and get some slurry into that. It's not slurry, it's digestate, but I want to get some digestate into that field before I cultivate it. I have reduced fertilizing to just 1 step now and no forced plowing because thank you, MR is going to slow the game down to not like massively, but enough that it's gonna like be a challenge and mean that I've constantly got stuff to do, especially if I have to buy another couple of grass fields and work on some grass silage, which, by the way, the big game is now out of the question. I will have to use the John Deere triple mowers, which I've double checked. I do have an XML for those to make them MR. If they don't work properly, then I can just get the in-game mowers. And by the way, you might have noticed that despite the fact that it's me, and irrespective of the wheel, my driving is vastly improved because suddenly I can anticipate what this tractor is going to do. Like, with default physics, they sometimes do a couple of weird things, whereas with MR, you just kind of turn as if you'd be turning in real life. I've never driven a tractor, but I can completely believe that's how you'd make that turn. And it feels somewhat natural, and it's very... You can see the small adjustments make very little of a difference here. But the wheels do still turn. I know you can't see the adjustments I'm making, but if I just zoom in, you can see the wheels are turning ever so slightly there. That's making next to no difference because, hey, well, the mass of the tractor's pushing forward is just kind of creating slippage almost. You can see there's a lot less equipment slipping about kind of nonsense going on as well. which I can completely get behind. But just looking at the time, we are actually out of time for today. I have in fact done a... well, we've probably got another minute actually, because I was kind of faffing about before I started recording, just getting things set up for a couple of minutes. But I don't think you guys want to sit and watch me seed the rest of this field. I'll probably do it off camera. I think next time what we'll do is we'll do a bit of slurry spreading, or a bit of digestate spreading I should say, and a bit of liquid fertilizer spreading as well, and maybe get the solid fertilizer down here as well, and get that out in a field or two, just to see how that behaves, I guess. Because I've not put that on the back of the tractor yet in MR17. I should also mention that the last time I did play MR before, back in FS13, the last time the MR mod was officially released. And I really enjoyed it. I really do enjoy MR. I hope there's a lot of modders out there that are kind of looking and saying, hey, this, you know, my mods are realism, or, you know, supposed to be realistic. Why don't I just put an MR XML into them alongside the mod desk and alongside the normal XMLs? Because you can have a normal mod that's also more realistic, which I think is the great thing about MR17. In FS13 they had to be separate mods. Now they can be one mod with an MR specification inside it. But that is gonna do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll leave you by saying, I've been RainbowDave. You've been watching Farming Simulator 17 on the West Coast with a more realistic mod. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.